Hello, guys. So, I wanted to share a little bit about um, my love for playing different instruments and how I utilize that in the production process. So, I love to collect different instruments and try to learn a little bit on about them and to study them. It not only helps me as a composer from an instrumentation perspective and for writing itself for other people, just to really feel like what an oboe feels like, or a clarinet or a violin or a brass instrument, and to get a sense of like what are the challenges technically. Like the more educated you are about that, definitely I think the better your writing is. But really, as I've at this stage in my writing, I'm very interested in actually being able to play into tracks like on the instrument itself. So I've done that for many years, but especially on the current Ghost Against Ghost record, I'm doing that a lot. Gabarine record that's coming out this year, I played clarinet and flute and violin on, and lute, of course, guitars and the standard instruments since. But I always am expanding the arsenal of instruments to experiment with. So last year I got a bass trombone, and I've always loved writing for bass trombone. It's got such a for that big, epic, cinematic, deep brass vibe. It's definitely my style. So I was always an instrument that I loved, and so I got one. I made a post recently where I was playing on it, and I was showing how terrible I am, and that, of course, I think was a bit brave of me to share with the world. The lack of skill on a new instrument. But the point I wanted to make to people was that you should never be discouraged, no matter how long you've been doing music, whether you're starting on day zero or you've been doing it for 20 years, to pick up and learn new instruments. And I wanted to show you a little bit about how I utilize this and to make something that's actually useful in a track and part of like the fabric of a new song. So here's an example from the video I filmed last week when I was playing bass trombone of how bad I am. As you can see, that kind of hurts a bit to hear, but that's part of it. That's just part of the learning process. And like I was saying in the Facebook Live post, I try to encourage my young son to just make bad noises and to embrace all noises in a very kind of Buddhist or Stoic approach to it, to just have pure equanimity with whether the sound is pleasant or unpleasant. And in order to make pleasant or useful sounds, you have to learn how to appreciate and allow for very unpleasant sounds. And it's kind of a form of courage and bravery. So now let me show you how I am actually utilized recording into this track. So here's my session. This is the track Light Bounces Off the Water. It's one of 14 tracks I'm currently working on for the new Ghost Against Ghost record. I'm in Costa Rica right now surfing, so that's why this is Costa Rica 06 is a travel edit, because my computer couldn't handle this big session. So anyways, lots of things going on here, but this is the bass trombone track. There's two tracks actually. I was actually even able to make from that pretty awful sounding material that I showed you just a second ago, to a harmony track based off of it too. Still editing, I'm not done, but I can show you some of this stuff. So this is, I am like a lover of playlists. As an instrumentalist, I just, when I'm writing a song, playlists give me the opportunity to like work out the parts. But then, as I've learned through so many records, particularly the like really produced ones, rather than the live ones, you can create very easily just a mountain months of editing. So you have to be very careful. And this track's taking a long time. But if you looked at the guitars, you'd see it was even crazier. I'll show you a little bit of these guitars. It's just like groups and groups and groups of guitars I've got to edit for this track. But anyways, back to the trombone. So these are all the takes, and you can see I've done a lot of work, just actually deleted a ton of stuff, and now I just have to go through everything. If I just go to like where I started, you can see all the kind of the playlisting editing that's going on, and then there'll be sections that are hard that are like, you can see where I played. See if I can show this a little clearer. Yeah, this is a little smaller. So you can see like, really zoom out and show you. You know, at the end part, that's the part I was recording, really was really a tricky thing for me, because the low notes on the trombone are very hard to play, like the mouth posture, the embouchure it's called, that you have to hold is quite challenging for someone that doesn't play. So I find the low notes quite hard. Of course, high notes are hard too. But I mean, you've already heard like some of the bad sounds, but I can show you like a little bit of how this works. Okay, so I'm going to play this back a little bit just to get into it. Now the trombone's going to come in right here. A little too loud. I still have to edit this part, and I worked on the end a little bit, but this big section is there's an edit here. I don't know, it's likely probably done and just needs some tweaking, but now I just want to zoom in on this a little bit and show. If you look, like, you see how much is cut up here. I mean, I don't tend to like to do this. Of course, I want to do as little editing as possible and just have full takes of performances, but particularly with Ghost Against Ghost music, it gets quite precise with the editing. But the less proficient you are on an instrument, obviously the more editing it needs. The point is not about, being good or bad on the instrument. That's the point of this quote unquote tutorial. But just to encourage you to be able to have fun on something and see that you can make something quite useful. So the lyrics of this section are: rain, rivers, glaciers, mountains, and oceans, they move both in and out of me. I try not to take them for granted. I remember they will become my own. So there's this like nature-based lyric driving this part of this B section in the song. And so if I solo some of this up, you can hear. So with the lyrics, really, suggested like nature in a natural setting, and particularly I think about the ocean. It has some water effect kind of things I did with the synths, the electronic drum machine, the Electron MK2, and to me the trombone, because you can really do the slides, gives a very like liquid or watery sound. And for some reason, it reminds me of like whales. I think of whales when I think of the bass trombone. You can kind of do some cool whale sounds. So I think you get a little bit of that vibe, especially when it's buried in the track. I mean, if I solo it up, you hear more the imperfections. But when it's like in the track, supporting stuff, and with some ambience on it in the background, the cool thing that it does is it gives it's almost like a synth sound, but it's very organic, obviously, because it's a real instrument. And that's what I really love, is taking like organic instruments and then processing them with however which way, with effects, sometimes no effects, but like obviously I love delay and reverb and everything in between, and there's just so much creative stuff you can make out of that. So to me, it's obviously synths are amazing, and I love synths, and I play with synths, and synthesized music is amazing, electronic music is great, but I personally really love like taking organic instruments or making organic sounds with synthesizers, because it gives, like, a lot of the issues with music for me, it kind of bums me out at times when I'm doing stuff. I can be inspired by it, but like everyone uses the same sample packs. It's like the music starts to just kind of like blend, and I know that you can take a sample pack and like make it your own, and I do that too, but no one's ever going to be able to recreate this kind of sound, and it's just so personal and in the moment. Even if it is like, again, like super edited and produced, it makes like a very, very unique track, in my like addition to the track, in my opinion. So you hear that line there, you can really hear it like if not in the track. Then the harmony part here. So this transition that I'm still working on, this is a good example of like, so you can see here where this says mel bounce, that's using Melodyne. I didn't play this well. It's like a chromatic step down thing, and so this harmony wasn't really designed in the moment when I was like just experimenting with the parts. I was experimenting with an upper part and a lower part, and I was thinking what would be cool if I could blend them, and likely because I was thinking a little bit about the counterpoint in my head, but I didn't really work that out. So people don't know, counterpoint is when two melody lines create harmony with each other, and the relationship between each note as it's passing is like a measured interval. So I used to be, sometimes will be very precise in calculating counterpoint, but at other times, sorry, just checking. At other times, I just am improvising it like most people do in modern music. And but I didn't really have any idea what was going to work together. I was just working kind of like an octave away from each other. And in this section, it actually works quite well. Let me show you a little bit. So this is here I repeat this note twice. You can see that to create like a false rhythm. So let's actually loop this section. Now let me solo the other part, show it to you. Now bring them both in. Take off some of the ambience. So anyways, and then the end part, just to give you an idea of that, because I haven't played that yet. Still editing this, you can see. And you can see like what it's like when I'm editing, all this stuff I have to go through. So when I record playlists, they'll tend to be like just scattered all over the place, and I'll start just going through and deleting like measure by measure. It's quite laborious, but the other thing that's beneficial about it is you really learn about your own playing, and like you see like how hard it is and like where you need to work. And I find it actually really a great way to like learn about what you need to work on playing wise, or what to focus on next time. I did actually edit this. I'm not sure. This was the section in that video that was really hard. I'm not sure what it sounds like. Let's listen. So yeah, I mean, then you can see that's going to be workable. And I actually have a double part for that that's not edited yet. Let's play it again. So again, the point is like you can be actually quite useless, it seems like, on an instrument and get something that's really actually works in a track and is creative, and like especially with time passing, you'll find it's even more inspiring. So I encourage you guys all to experiment with new instruments, and not be discouraged by the bad noises that you're making. Maybe learn a little bit about editing and how to record. That's definitely like a hurdle that you have to get through, but just with a little bit of skill with that, you can start to figure out how to like find pieces that you can use as samples, and like you can put in a sampler, or you can just loop, or you can create a melody line out of. But a lot of great stuff comes out of just that like creative openness to like that Zen mind, beginner's mind, to new instrumentation. Peace, love, see you soon.